Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson where I'm going to help you learn to talk about the clothing that people wear. You'll learn how to describe the clothing that people are wearing and how they are dressed. Right now, I am dressed for the weather. When you dress for the weather, you look outside, and hopefully your hood isn't covering your eyes. You look outside to see what the weather is like, or you look at the weather forecast and you wear clothing that is appropriate for that type of weather. I am dressed for the weather because it's cold and it's rainy out here. It stopped raining now, but it was raining earlier. Here's a funny story though. This morning I went to do some shopping and I wasn't dressed for the weather. I was just wearing a t-shirt and jeans, and it was raining and it was much colder. I think it was only 11 degrees Celsius. So when you're dressed for the weather, you wear clothing that is appropriate for rain or for snow or for a sunny day. You decide to wear the best thing you could find for that kind of weather. Now, sometimes you want to wear clothes that make you look good. You want to wear clothes that make you look more professional and successful. And there are 3 English phrases I want to teach you about dressing this way. The first is dressed for success. When you dress for success, it means you dress in a professional and appropriate way for what you are doing. Let's say you are a lawyer. Let's say you are a realtor, someone who sells houses, or let's say you are a business person. You will want to be dressed for success. You want to wear clothing that allow people to trust you because you look professional and you look successful. So you want to be dressed for success. The second phrase is dressed to impress. When you dress to impress, it's the same as this. It's the same type of outfit, but you are dressing to impress people. You want them to look at you and think that you are put together well. There's another phrase for you, that you are organized. You would certainly dress to impress if you were going for a job interview. If I was going for a job interview to become a teacher, I would wear exactly this outfit. I would dress to impress. And the opposite would be to wear clothes that make you look disorganized and that you don't take care of yourself. So, especially when going for a job interview, you will want to dress to impress. And then the last vocabulary word I want to teach you is overdressed. I mentioned that I would wear this type of outfit. I would wear a suit and tie if I went for a job interview as a teacher. But in my day-to-day job, we don't wear a suit and tie. I would be overdressed if I went to work this way. Most teachers at my school simply wear what we call smart casual, shirts with collars, khaki pants, no jeans. But I would certainly wear this to the interview, but if I wore it to work, I would be overdressed. So when you're overdressed, it simply means dressing too nice for the occasion. If some friends of mine said, hey, let's go to a restaurant tonight to hang out and just have a nice meal, if I showed up wearing this, I would be overdressed. So 3 phrases for you: dressed for success, dressed to impress, and make sure you're always wearing the appropriate clothing for wherever you go so that you're not overdressed. When you have a job, you most likely have clothes that you call work clothes. Work clothes are the clothes that you wear to work. When you have really nice clothes for going out with friends or for sitting around when you want to be comfy at home, you don't necessarily want to wear those clothes to work, and they might not be appropriate. So you have work clothes. And then we have the phrase dressed for work. Right now, I'm dressed for work. For me, that means a shirt with a collar. That's important. It's part of the dress code for my job as a teacher. I'm wearing khaki pants and a belt and somewhat nicer shoes. I do that because we are not allowed to wear jeans. We are not allowed to wear t-shirts. We don't have to wear a suit and tie, as I mentioned earlier, but we need to kind of look somewhat formal. I guess this would be like somewhere between casual and formal. So you have work clothes, the clothes that you wear to work, and then when you talk about them, you say you are dressed for work. In the morning, I have to get dressed for work. When I come home from work, though, I want to put on some comfortable clothes. But in English, the word comfortable is too long, so we just use the word comfy. We shorten it. I'm not very good at doing these fashion show parts of the video. When I get home from work, I like to put on some comfy clothes. And this might be different for different people. For me, comfy clothes means a t-shirt, an old t-shirt specifically, and an old pair of jeans. Clothes that just feel nice when I wear them. Clothes that are extremely comfortable. For some people, that might mean a pair of jogging pants. For me in the winter, it would mean instead of a t-shirt, probably an old sweatshirt, and again, an old pair of jeans. So when you go to work, you wear work clothes. When you come home, you don't wear home clothes or house clothes. Those aren't the terms we use. We simply say that you're going to put on some comfy clothes. And I'm kind of wondering, what are your comfy clothes? In the comments below, let me know. When you get home from work and you want to relax and you want to be comfortable, what kind of clothes do you change into? Do you change into an old t-shirt and an old pair of jeans? Or maybe there's a certain sweatshirt or sweater that's just super cozy? Let me know in the comments below. What do you wear when you want to wear comfy clothes? Oh, and I should also tell you this. If I wore my comfy clothes to work, I would be underdressed. Sometimes when you wear really fancy clothes, you're overdressed for an occasion. Like I mentioned earlier, if you wear a suit and tie somewhere and everyone else is just wearing a t-shirt and jeans, you are overdressed. But the opposite can happen as well. If I went to work wearing an old t-shirt and an old pair of jeans, I would be underdressed. In fact, my boss might even say to me, hey, you're looking a little bit unkempt today. You're looking a little bit scruffy. We have a teacher dress code here. A dress code is a set of rules for what you're supposed to wear. We have a dress code. You need to at least wear a shirt with a collar and no jeans. So you are underdressed. So those of you that live in colder parts of the world will know this. When it's cold, you need to be dressed in layers. When you say that someone is dressed in layers, it means they've worn numerous articles of clothing in order to stay warm. In the winter here in Canada, I usually wear 3 or 4 layers. You can see I have a t-shirt, I have a long sleeved t-shirt, I have my, I guess what I would call a sweater or a hoodie, and then I also have my winter coat. So I'm definitely dressed in layers. When you dress in layers, it kind of traps air between the layers of clothing, and that air helps to insulate you. It helps to keep your warmth in and keep the cold out. So if you're ever in a cold part of the world, don't bring one big winter coat and a t-shirt. Make sure you bring multiple articles of clothing so that you can dress in layers. Being dressed in layers is the secret to staying warm when it's really, really cold. Okay, let's talk about the phrase dressed for the occasion. When you're dressed for the occasion, it means you're wearing whatever clothes would be appropriate for that occasion. If you're going for a hike, you're going to want to wear a good pair of shoes or some hiking boots. You might want to wear 2 shirts that are thin so you can take one off and carry it if you get hot. If you're going to a funeral, it's traditional to wear darker colors. It's traditional to wear black. You would be dressed for the occasion. When you go to a wedding, you usually dress up. When you dress up, it means you wear nicer clothes than you normally do. When I go to a wedding, I often wear a shirt with a tie. Sometimes I wear a suit jacket, but often I take it off by the time I'm at the reception because I'm usually too warm to wear it. So when you're dressed for the occasion, it means you have chosen to wear, or you are wearing the clothes that are appropriate for whatever that occasion or event is. Well, hey, thank you so much for watching this English lesson where I hope you learned some new words and phrases you can use the next time you have a conversation about how people are dressed. And hopefully you didn't look too closely at my tie. I'm still not very good at tying a tie. So it's a little bit lopsided, but hey, at least I tied it myself and didn't just wear a clip-on. Once again, thank you for watching this English lesson. If this is your first time here, don't forget to click the red subscribe button wherever that happens to be. Leave a comment below. I love reading them and responding to them. And give me a thumbs up if this English lesson helped you learn a bit more English. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week with another lesson. Bye.